Welcome to Data Science Show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
I'm your host, Mirko Peters. We explore how data science and AI drive real business impact, straight from the leaders making it happen. Today, human in the loop at enterprise scale, building decision pipelines executives can trust. Why this matters now is simple. Too many organizations either automate everything without guardrails or keep everything manual and never scale. Both cost money, slow decisions, and increase risk. In this episode, I'll give you a practical playbook for designing HITL pipelines that augment judgment without creating new operational exposure.
Quick promise. By the end of this episode, you'll have a short checklist to evaluate any HILT initiative. Where to place handoffs, which KPIs to track, how to align ownership and incentives, and the governance controls that actually work for executives.
Before we dive in, a framing note. I'm presenting a composite senior leader persona, a chief data officer / head of machine learning who's run multiple HITL programs. I'll label that voice as composite leader in the show. This lets us discuss operational detail at executive scale while keeping the perspective concrete.
Thanks, Mirko. I'll start with the context most executives face. Dozens of model pilots, mixed ROI, and anxiety at the board level about accountability. My remit is straightforward. Turn models into repeatable business outcomes while managing regulatory, operational, and reputational risk. That means HITL isn't a feature, it's a design principle. It's how you safely bring AI into decisions that affect revenue, customers, and compliance.
Let's unpack that. Section 1. The persona and responsibilities that shape HITL decisions. Composite leader, walk us through your typical operational context, team structure, scale, and the kinds of decisions you own.
I oversee a blended org. Data engineers, ML engineers, model ops, subject matter experts in risk and customer operations, and a small centralized governance team. We support use cases ranging from fraud detection and credit decisioning in finance to routing and exception handling in operations and intent detection in customer experience. Scale means thousands to millions of daily decisions. Stakes vary by use case, but accountability does not. Someone must own outcomes across the human plus model stack. Two experiences shaped our approach. First, a fraud model that drifted and silently reduced detection because no one measured the human override rate. Second, a CX routing system that reduced handle time but increased customer complaints because the escalation path wasn't clear. Those taught us measure combined performance, instrument the handoffs, and design clear escalation and audit trails.
Great context. Section 2, Strategy to Execution, the core of the episode. Start with hit old patterns. What are the basic patterns leaders should know, and how do you pick handoff points?
There are 3 practical patterns I use with leaders: automated, assisted, and review required. Automated means the model decides without human input, reserved for low-risk, high-confidence actions. Assisted is where the model suggests a decision and a human confirms or modifies it. Review required is for edge cases or high-impact decisions, where a human review is mandatory before action. Choosing a handoff depends on expected impact, model confidence calibration, regulatory requirements, and cost of delay. Talk to me about confidence thresholds and calibration. Executives often ask for a single accuracy metric, but we know that's insufficient.
Exactly. You need calibrated confidence bands and decision-level SLAs. For example, set rules like, if model confidence greater than 92% and predicted impact is low, auto-execute. If confidence is between 70 and 92% and impact moderate, route to assisted. If confidence less than 70% or predicted impact high, route to review required. Always log the decision, the score, and the reason. Then track the human override rate by band. That's the signal telling you whether thresholds are appropriate.
Let's get concrete with use cases. How does this play out in finance, operations, and customer experience?
In finance, think credit uplift or collections prioritization,
We use automated for low balance, routine cases, assisted for borderline credit improvements, where a human agent can nudge a payment plan, and review required for write-offs or large credit adjustments. Instrumentation captured lift and prevented loss from misclassification. In operations, like supply chain exceptions, the model batches likely exceptions and suggests a fix. Human operators confirmed for the assisted tier, and review required kicks in when supply contracts or SLAs are at risk. That reduced mean time to resolution while keeping human judgment on complex cases. In CX, routing or reply drafting, models draft responses or assign priority. Agents edit and finalize. Tracking CPI, customer post-interaction satisfaction, with override rates showed where the model changed outcomes for the better and where it didn't.
You mentioned metrics. Executives need a small, actionable KPI set. What do you track to measure combined human plus model performance? Keep it to 5 measured metrics at the executive level. Combined precision and recall, or business equivalent, human override rate by confidence band, throughput and latency per tier, cost per decision, model plus human, and business impact delta, revenue recovered, cost avoided, or NPS change attributable to the system. Instrument these over time and correlate with data drift signals and feature distribution changes.
Let's address failure modes. What goes wrong most often when teams build HITL systems?
3 failure patterns. First, blind thresholds. Teams pick an arbitrary confidence cutoff, deploy, and never revisit. Second, fractured ownership. Model team owns the model. Operations own the humans. No one owns the combined pipeline. Third, missing audit trails. Yes, you logged scores, but not the human rationale, so investigations stall. The fixes are simple in concept. Review thresholds continuously, define a RACI for the decision pipeline, and capture structured human feedback that maps to model features where possible. That leads us into Section 3, Leadership, Governance, and Communication. Executives need policies that scale. What governance controls actually matter? At the top, a decision ownership policy that names the accountable executive for each pipeline, not just for model accuracy. Second, tiered SLAs and cost-benefit gates for moving between assisted and automated tiers. Third, incident playbooks that cover both model failures and human failure modes, with audit logs and a forensics process. Fourth, incentive alignment. Tie part of ops KPIs to correct automation outcomes and part of data science KPIs to deployability and stability, not just offline metrics. How do you communicate this to the board or stakeholders without drowning them in detail? Simplify to outcome metrics and risk posture. Present the combined precision recall impact on key financials, the override trend, and a succinct risk map. What could fail, likelihood, impact, and mitigation. Use one slide for the operating model, who owns what, and one slide for recent incidents and what changed. Executives want to know you can measure, control, and remediate quickly. Future outlook briefly. What should leaders bake into HITL systems for the next 12 to 24 months? Design for observability from day one. Feature-level drift detectors, human feedback loops, and decision lineage. Assume model upgrades will be frequent and design seamless rollback and canarying. Invest in data contracts to avoid silent data changes. Finally, think of explainability as a product requirement, not a research exercise, so operators and auditors can understand why a decision was made.
We're almost out of time. 2 actionable checklist items for executives. First, require a combined KPI dashboard for every deployed decision pipeline that includes override rate, throughput, cost per decision, and business impact. Second, mandate a recorded RACI and an incident playbook for every HITL pipeline before moving any system to automated execution. Those 2 moves stop most surprises. Final reflection. Human in the loop is not a halfway step to full automation. It's an architectural choice that balances speed, safety, and accountability. Done right, HITL makes AI trustworthy and scalable. Done poorly, it creates hidden risk. Design intentionally, measure consistently, and own the outcomes.
That's the difference between models and value. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. And let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm Mirko Peters. We'll be back with more conversations on how data science and AI create real business impact. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.